first today we go to Israel, where here's a quote, giving credit to and emboldening Hamas. Well, that's Nikki Haley's reaction to Spain and Norway's decision to recognize a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as the capital.
Well, the news comes as Israel is investigating an incident where dozens of civilians died in an airstrike in Rafah. Chris Mitchell is bringing us the details from Jerusalem.
As the White House investigates whether an Israeli strike that the Gaza Ministry of Health says resulted in the death of dozens of civilians violated a red line, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended Israel's actions while admitting a tragic mishap took place.
In Rafah, we've already evacuated about 1 million non-involved residents. And despite our best efforts not to harm the non-involved, unfortunately, a technical failure happened last night. We're investigating the case. We will present the conclusions because this is our policy.
The IDF released this graphic showing the strike took place outside the humanitarian zone set up to take Gazans out of harm's way. They took several steps to reduce the risk to uninvolved civilians and use precision munitions. This video posted online purports to show that a Hamas jeep loaded with ammunition and weapons contributed to the destruction with secondary explosions. The strike targeted 2 senior Hamas terrorists who directed terror attacks in Judea and Samaria.
According to initial reports, a fire broke out after the attack. These terrorists were hiding underground.
Monday, former U.S. presidential candidate Nikki Haley toured the sites of the October 7th massacre, including the Nova Music Festival. Haley told reporters Israel is fighting the same enemies as America and blasted Ireland, Norway, and Spain for recognizing a Palestinian state.
For all those countries who decided to recognize a Palestinian state, do you know what that felt like here in Israel? You just gave credit to Hamas and all that they did. For all those looking at the ICC and ICJ, right before we landed, there were strikes in Tel Aviv. Why? Because the ICC and ICJ just emboldened Hamas.
A Hamas leader says the group is also encouraged by protests on U.S. college campuses. Khaled Mashal said the protesters will help defeat the Jewish state.
We thank the great student flood which emerged from the American, European, and Western universities and has reached all the countries of our nation. We are grateful for the spirit that we have witnessed in our nation and in humanity as a whole. We have the opportunity to defeat Israel, Allah willing. We have an opportunity to dismantle the Zionist enterprise.
Meanwhile, Egypt and Israel are investigating an exchange of fire between their forces near Rafah that left 1 Egyptian soldier dead. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, I hope everyone hears what Hamas just did. They congratulated the students. They said, thank you for the great student flood. Now, those of us who are watching these protests and are asking these questions like, how come all the tents match? Who created all of these placards? Who spent the money for all of this? Why is this so-called spontaneous thing happening simultaneously in multiple locations? When you hear university presidents say it's not students doing the organizing and there's a clear and present danger, that's the president of Colombia calling out the police to disperse them. You look at all of this, and is it all of it a manufactured protest? Is Hamas really in charge of it behind the scenes? But here, clearly, what they're saying, they want to dismantle the Zionist enterprise. What that means is they want to wipe Israel off the map, which has been their goal from 1948. They have never wanted a Palestinian state. And for any country that says, we'll have peace if we just recognize that they have a state, well, they don't themselves want that. What they want is everything. They don't want Israel on the map. And that has been their goal since 1948. David Ben-Gurion offered them a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as the capital, and they refused. They didn't want peace with Israel. Same thing happened in 1967 after the Six-Day War. Israel offered to return everything. What did they do? Well, they had a conference in Khartoum, and the famous 3 no's: no peace, no recognition. All of these things need to be part of the history so everyone understands their real goal. Their real goal is to wipe Israel off the map and slaughter every single Jew. When you understand that goal, you can't possibly stand with them. You have to stand with Israel.